Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for joining us today. It's really nice. I've got guests here today. It's the first time I actually have guests in the studio since I've done the redecorating. Today, I've got Gabby and I've got Beatrice. And I have two other special guests. That's Jackson and Danny. Those are the dogs. The other two are not. We're going to talk about Frida today. There's lots of things we don't know about her, but we do now. All right, let's get the show started. Thanks for joining us. All right, I want to have everybody say hi real quick. Introduce yourself. Just tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll go from there. Start with you.
Hello, my name is Beatrice, and I'm from Odessa, Texas. And I'm just very privileged to be here to join you today in your beautiful studio. So thank you for having me.
Well, thanks for being here. Thank you for the compliment to the studio. It's my new favorite place. All right, guest number 2.
I am guest number 2. Should I go by G-Star?
You go by whatever you want. If you want to have a stage name, if you want to have a radio name. Feel free.
Let's go with the name Jed gave me, G-Star.
G-Star.
You may recognize me from other shows such as Bones and what were some of our other show names?
I can't remember
And Gabby
anymore.
Gandy's. Or you may know me as Gabby Gandy's. You're expert in all things.
That's
I
right.
am also from Odessa. Love those West Texas skies. Woo!
Yes. And if for our listeners, I don't know how many of y'all are out there, but West Texas sunsets are the best. I don't care who you are. It's just amazing. All right. Show topic today is, okay, I'm going to say her last name wrong because I've already forgot it. Frida
Kahlo.
It's right there. I literally have the name in front of me, folks.
You have to put that Mexican accent, Kahlo.
Oh, Frida Kahlo.
Even though I don't know if it's Mexican, Kahlo I think is German.
Kahlo.
Was Kahlo German? Right, because her dad was last name Kahlo.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so we got to do it with a German accent.
Okay. Well, I am German, so I'll go ahead and try it.
Yes.
Frida Kahlo! Is that German enough for you?
That's like in between. It sounds like you're a Cuban screaming at his carro. Get the carro. Get the car.
Kind of like military-ish vibe.
Try that again. Get rid of your Mexican side and just
Okay.
focus on your German side.
Let's see. Let me get German going on here. Okay.
Get angry.
Frida Kahlo. Carlo.
You're singing it too much. Germans don't sing.
I'm not singing anything. What are you talking about?
You got that singing in your...
Joseph Dusler.
Yes, like that. No,
Frida Kahlo. It's the same
you're
thing.
singing it.
I'm not singing. I'm just rolling my R's.
Don't roll it.
Oh, that's going to be harder. That's one thing about West Texas is because not everybody can roll their R's, but now I'm being asked not to. I can't not to roll my R's
Frida.
when I try to say
And
Frida.
I'm terrible at accents, so I'm not even going to try.
Frida Kahlo.
I don't know. Beatrice, what do you rate this on 1 to 10? How good is it?
I mean, I'm kind of thinking I'd like to hear it from, somebody who can... I don't know. I guess I don't know how it's
A
said.
German
Frida
accent?
Kahlo. That's what I've always said.
But he's trying to do it in like a German
Yeah.
accent. How's his German accent?
It's pretty good. It's getting better.
Audience, what do y'all think of my German accent? See, now everybody else agrees that it's. Thank you, audience.
Okay.
That's why I'm glad y'all are here. Y'all don't care if I roll my R's. Thanks, audience. I appreciate that.
All right. We got it. So her name is Frida Kahlo.
All that to say, her name is Frida Kahlo.
Or
And,
is it Magdalena?
oh, the long name that I can't pronounce. No. Once again, the reason we're talking about this today is because we went to the exhibit that they had at the Museum of the Southwest in Midland, Texas.
Go Midland.
Yeah, go Midland. There's no Midlanders in here, so that's okay. That's probably a good thing. Any Midlanders out there in the audience? No. Okay. It's all right.
All Odessans.
Yeah,
All
all
native
Odessans. It's okay. At least I didn't ask if you were Permian or OHS fans. That'll start a fight. So yeah, we decided that we were going to go see the exhibit, but to prep for it, we were going to do a PowerPoint party, which for those of you that don't know what that is, it's where you do a PowerPoint while drinking. So it's pretty nice. We had a good time. We also had some kind of brunch food. It was also delicious. Shout out to
Gabby's
yeah,
mom.
that's right. Shout out to Gabby's mom. Thank you for that.
Woo! Thanks, Mom.
Really,
Love you.
Really nice of you to do that for us. Delicious. I don't know. We'll put a shout out to Gabby's mom and our sponsor today, which is Apex Car Wash. Ladies and gentlemen, out here in West Texas, you know your car can get covered in lots of dirt. It's just something that happens. If you need your car washed, go to Apex. Apex Car Wash on 8th Street, and also in Midland on
Rankin Highway.
Thank you, on Rankin Highway. Tell them Jed sent you. It won't get you anything, but just tell them it anyways. All right, so that was our sponsor. Thanks, guys. So we had our PowerPoint party. How do y'all think it went? Did we learn anything from these PowerPoints that we did today? Let's start in the order that we did. You, Gabby, were first. So tell us a little bit about your presentation and if you learned anything.
Okay, thank you. Let me go back and think about what I talked about. Again, it was a drinking PowerPoint party, guys.
That is the crucial thing to remember here.
It seems so long ago.
Right.
Yes. So my PowerPoint focused on the individuality and rebellion of Frida Kahlo, how it was portrayed in her paintings, and a life of illness and suffering, and a lot of the promiscuous side of her relationship with her husband, and how it was actually encouraged. So that was very interesting to see how that all unfolded and how it led to her self-obsession, which led to many of her self-portraits. So I thought that was a very interesting aspect of Frida, is how insecurity can lead to self-obsession.
And creativity.
And I think we kind of see that in ourselves now with some social media platforms and the ability to create our own art, including, filters, and how we can make ourselves look how we want and portray ourselves as beautiful. And then I think you kind of get like addicted to that, and then you just start creating more and more.
Addicted to the external version of yourself.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes. So, like you said, she was ahead of her time. So to me, that was very, very interesting. And Danny agrees because she is licking my hands. She's really licking me and throwing me off here.
Just to remind the listeners, Danny is the dog, not the other guests. So
yes. Danny, stop licking. This is not the time or the place. We're not at one of Frida's parties, okay?
That's a shame.
Yeah, so I wasn't really expecting that to kind of come out and everything. So that was an interesting piece for me to discuss in my PowerPoint presentation.
Very well done, ladies and gentlemen. It was.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Nice visuals. All right. How about you, Beatrice? What was your PowerPoint presentation on, and what did you feel like you learned while doing the process?
I think with me, the process, I was kind of thinking about, okay, what do I not know about Frida, and what would I like to know? And I know going into the exhibit today, I was curious about what exactly we were going to go into. And so I took it from the perspective of the photographs themselves. And so I wanted to dig deeper, like, where do these photographs come from, and what's the history or story? And so I started at Casa Azul, and that was kind of my focal point. And, that's where Frida was born, and that's where she passed away. And so just her life in between, and just kind of learning about the stages of her life and how she evolved as an artist. And, as when she passed away, then what happened with all of her belongings and how did those photographs come to fruition? And so that was kind of my goal, was to kind of pull that out and learn a little bit more about that process. And so today when we went to the exhibit, I know we'll talk about that a little more in a moment,
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
but I liked that I did that background work so that I could make those connections when I was there. And it was kind of fun today seeing photographs that I saw on the computer, and so through the research that I was doing. And so once again, there's still lots more questions in my head. I'm kind of thinking, okay, I wish I knew more about that or about this, but it was a great start to learning more about such a fascinating artist.
And I like that Beatrice did that. I think that's a very interesting take on, like, what do you focus on? What do you present on? Because that was what we intended, was like, okay, let's learn something about Frida, because we really didn't know.
Yeah, we were definitely going in blind in a way.
Yeah.
So
So it's like, what do we want to learn? What do we want to share? Just anything to give us insight onto what we're going to see. So I think Beatrice's focus on that presentation was a really good take on preparing us for the exhibit. So,
and it was
good job.
also very well done and colorful, and the most notes I've ever seen, I think, on the little sheet on that she, her little
I
resource
love
sheet.
notes.
Yes, it was very impressive, I must say.
And I still want to know about her burial or her casket or her deathbed or something. So just side note,
Yeah.
we need to look into that.
Yeah, that is.
Because it's supposed to be very like a statement, but I don't remember what the statement was or what she did, like what happened. I just know it was supposed to be important.
Yeah, I didn't go as far as her death in mind.
None of us really. We all got ready last night. We all got our presentations and research done last night, or maybe in the wee hours this morning.
Listen.
With a month's notice, and we all started last night.
We could have
So
done a
funny.
better job. I still think we did good.
Yes,
I think so
agree.
too. It's sometimes the creativity comes out whenever you are left to just the amount of time that you've got to do it, period. I don't know. I work well under pressure in that sense. So yeah, one thing I did notice while I was watching all of our presentations is we all, some of it was the same, but there were little hints, like we all said, I can't remember now, but it was something along the lines of, she was born in this point in time. And then I had pointed out that she used to tell people she was born, years later, not to make herself look younger, but to coincide with the Mexican Revolution, because she wanted to be associated as much with that as she wanted to, because she was a communist.
Yeah, and we saw that at the
Yeah.
exhibit. That was interesting. There was
Yeah.
a photograph of her that said it was age 5, but it was in 1910 or something like that. So the years were off. So she really did state that claim.
Yeah.
And we saw that today. And it's like, oh, really? She really did lie. Okay.
Yeah. And the other little things that was neat doing the research, I didn't put it in my presentation, but that her dad was a photographer. And that's why there's a lot of photos of her when she was young. I mean, not a lot of photos, but there are photos of her when she was young, when that wasn't necessarily, as typical as it is today. Like I was telling you earlier, I have 1,500 photos of my son over the course of his life. And, it just wasn't that way back in.
We definitely take way more pictures now.
Yeah. But it's
easier.
We're lucky that her dad was a photographer.
Because there wouldn't have been documented. Yeah,
Right.
there was a lot of documentation for that time period. And even how...
And of her growing up period, yeah.
Yeah, and even just like the picture of the moon that we saw, like the
That was
quality of
impressive.
photographs, like I thought that,
But
thought it
that
was
you could definitely
impressive.
tell was from somebody who knew what they were doing. Once again, it was not a shot that was taken with a camera, click, take it of the moon, because we all know how that turns out. No, this was set up. It was a tripod set up into something that could view the moon that was going through a telescope. That just takes a whole lot of foresight. You got to know what you're doing. You got to have the right equipment. Yeah, it's just neat for the time period, especially. Yeah.
It was, and we were talking about our I don't know where you were going to head with that, but also our favorite photographs from the exhibit.
Oh, yes.
But I don't want to
Oh, well, that's
interrupt your.
no. All I was going to say is, out of all of the presentations, I threw in more fake stuff or more comedy to try to lighten it up a little bit. And there was a reason I wanted to go last, is because all the jokes I think would hit harder because we all talked about some of the same things. So it was fun. But that's what I try to do with all my PowerPoint presentations.
Oh,
Yeah, it was a great spin for sure because it was very outside of the box, And I think we were all trying to get a different angle, and so I think
I
between all
think
three
it
of
was
us, worked really well.
laziness. I think he's just pulling it off as I think it was just lazy, and he didn't do his research, so he just threw in some comedy BS.
So all the things that I was telling you, like you were like, what year or how old was she when she died? I'm like 47. No, that wasn't because I did my research. Anytime you ask me a question, I knew of it.
He
I
did
did
a
it
parody
exactly
PowerPoint because he didn't do his research.
That is not true at all.
Okay.
I will show you my cliff notes if you'd like to see them.
So I do have a question for the audience.
Okay.
Those that are Frida connoisseurs, art enthusiasts, fill in the blank. So the Georgia O'Keeffe thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
you
so
have to explain who Georgia O'Keeffe is first.
Well, Beatrice might do a better job explaining who she is. She's an American artist.
American
artist who was friends with Frida. I don't really, like I said, I didn't do a lot of research. I spent an hour last night.
Now we see who doesn't do all the research.
in PowerPoint.
She was projecting all of
She
that.
was much older than Frida.
Okay, so Frida and Georgia had a friendship, we will say. And apparently, Diego,
Her husband,
Diego Rivera, said that he witnessed Frida flirting with Georgia O'Keeffe. And so they exchanged communication letters. And in Frida's letters, I don't have any of them in front of me, but
She didn't steal them from the exhibit. That's what she's trying to say.
I know, I almost did. But you guys were there putting.
Yeah, you were also then there taking illegal photos.
Hush.
We literally have the photos to prove it.
What? This is Photoshop. What are you talking about? Oh, Danny is like great. So they had this friendship, and Frida wrote these letters, and she was very fond of Georgia. And so the language she used, it made it seem like she had a crush on her, right? And so, yes, Frida was bisexual. She was a little promiscuous. I don't know.
For that time as well. I mean, it wasn't.
And so I don't know if Georgia, her sexuality. I don't really know the history of Georgia O'Keeffe, sadly, and I know she's a very important artist. But there's no documentation of how Georgia responded, or that I know of that I read online. But so I'm interested. Not that it's really important, or it's
Curiosity.
really not just curiosity, right?
Yeah.
Like, do our listeners think that Frida and Georgia maybe had a fling, a quick little fling? Do you guys think maybe?
Well, if you think of
something
the history of
happened?
Georgia O'Keeffe and her art, like many people say they depict vaginas, right?
Right,
And
the vagina lady.
and so when you think of that focus and you think of her mind frame, I mean, you never know, right? Because
I wouldn't doubt it, right? It wouldn't be surprising,
Right. I mean, you got to get a close up view somehow, right? So why not have a friend there that you can that's what it looks like
It's just
up
that
close.
Georgia was never proven. They had a list of all her lovers and friends, Frida's lovers and friends, but Georgia wasn't really on that list.
Well, she was probably the most
So I want to know
famous.
if we put her on the list.
So, it could have been a thing of don't get it out there in the public because it could ruin my career.
Exactly.
Kind of thing, where Frida didn't really care. You know what I mean? She's like, yeah, women and men, hello.
it's because I believe at that point Georgia was already known as an artist. She was already established, her name was out there,
right.
and I think Frida just admired her, and so she had this older woman with this power and something she wanted. She wanted to be an artist and strive to be, great. And I
And
think
attracted to
that-
talent.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's attractive.
She was attracted to Diego.
Yeah.
Attracted
Well,
to talent.
People
And
are
by-
attracted
And let me
to
just
talent.
make a disclaimer. I took art history in high school, but guys, I'm not an art historian. I'm not This isn't my thing. We're just talking about it. We just had a fun little PowerPoint party so we can go to the exhibit. So I'm sure there's a lot of information I don't know, and I may sound really stupid to some of our listeners, but hey, we were just having fun, and one thing led to another.
Well, that's the exact
So
quote.
let me just say that.
That was the exact quote from Frida. We were just having fun, and one thing led to another.
So let me just put that out there, okay?
I'm pretty sure that's the exact quote. And then, yeah. No, you can't say that. Threw it away.
Beatrice, on the other hand, she's an art history major.
That's right. We
She didn't say that when she introduced herself, but
I don't know much about that relationship. I actually just learned about that last night, and so that was pretty interesting. So it opened a rabbit hole for myself as well. But I was kind of curious. So with your question, I wonder how many of our listeners think that was something that happened, or if they have any other knowledge or background knowledge of that relationship. That would be really awesome to hear.
yeah, who knows more? Can we
Right?
get some listeners to call in?
I'd have to make that creative, but no, they don't have the number right now.
Post your comment on wherever this is going to be
right.
published,
Post-
if it's ever published.
Put your questions in the comments, and we'll do a follow up later on until we get our phone systems working.
We're working on our staff. It's
That's
not on
right.
our
That's
budget
right.
yet.
We've got minimal staff currently, but we're working on it. That's why we've got our sponsor, Apex Car Wash. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're here in West Texas and you need a car wash, or if you just, are missing the days of summer, go through the car wash with your windows down, and it's fun for everybody in the car. Kids will love it. Mom will love it. Your wife won't love it, but we do. And we do love Apex Car Wash. Go out there and see them, ladies and gentlemen, on 8th Street in Odessa. And where in Midland?
Rankin Highway.
Rankin Highway.
in
Don't know
Midland.
why I can't remember that. Rankin Highway in Midland. Tell them Jed sent you. All right. So that's what's going to pay for our staff, ladies and gentlemen, eventually.
Well, I'm glad we have at least a massage therapist on staff. We might not be able to afford a phone line, but we got Danny here giving little massages.
Yeah. I think it's you that the massage therapist giving her a massage because her eyes are like sleepy. No, so it was a lot of fun to be able to, like you were saying, connect some of the dots based off of doing the research last night. I mean, all month of October.
That's right. Invitation went out a month ago.
Doing this research all month and now being able to finally put the pictures to some of these things. The pictures were great. It started off, it was very going in the timeline of showing some of her family first and then getting into kind of her and then kind of going through stuff that she was a part of, stuff that she was going through, including things that she had also created. So it was really neat to be able to see what her dad looked like. You can definitely tell she got a lot of her looks from her mom.
Definitely.
Yes.
The unibrow look was definitely from her mom.
Definitely.
The mustache was from her dad. There we go. He also had a... No, I'm just kidding. But his mustache was pretty impressive. I'm not going to lie. It was pretty cool. Man knew what he was doing. What were y'all's thoughts? What were your thoughts on the photo gallery? What was your favorate parts of the photo gallery?
We were gonna give it eye patches. Are we doing eye patches or cabbage patches on this one?
I don't know. I don't even have a name for the show here that I said so far. So
that's on our other podcast.
I'll
Okay,
sneak
on
that
a
in with
scale-
editing later.
Beatrice, on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you rate the exhibit that we saw today?
Okay, I kind of have some mixed reviews only because I've seen photographs and my passion is photography, and I felt like the quality of the pictures were not very good because they were copies, and I was surprised. I
Yes,
thought
they
they
were
were going to be
copies.
actual photographs, and as I was walking through, I think I was distracted because of the copy quality, and that was what's in my head, and I was going into the show expecting to see the original photographs, because I think the beauty of what museums can give you that others can't. I mean, I can
One of
see
a
a
kind.
It's
copy.
original.
Correct. I can
Right.
see a copy on the computer.
You can
and
print it out. Put it
Yes.
up.
And I feel like that kind of lost a little bit of that for me today.
That feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the pictures are beautiful, of course, but I think if they were authentic, I think it would have just,
It's part of the
there's
character.
beauty to that.
Yeah.
What about the curation of it? Like, what do you think about the selection? It was like over 6,000 photographs. They selected, or a photographer selected 241 photographs. What did you think
For this exhibit.
about the selection? I mean, given we haven't seen the other 6,000,
Right.
but what did you think about what was picked for the
I
exhibit?
think it's a great selection. I feel like it led me to wonder more about Frida. We were looking at the revolutionary pictures at the, the pictures at the Detroit. At
At Ford.
Yeah, just
Motor
those
Center.
industrial pictures, and I kind of want to learn more about that time frame. But I think it led me to ask more questions in my head. That I would like to go home and do some more research on. But I think it was great. It was a great overview, of her life, and I don't know. I felt like I did learn a lot, but it was just that quality. That's the only thing that got me.
So a little bit about the exhibit. So it was broken down into 6 themes, or how many themes was it? It was 6 themes, right?
Yeah,
So it was more about the different periods in Frida's life is the way it was selected. So it was like her lovers and her closer friends was a theme. Her the revolutionary Diego. I remember it was like 3 sad things. Politics, revolution, and Diego were all grouped into one.
Her husband gets
Her husband was
a part of her own tragedy,
yes,
her own category.
and then one was her family, right? So it's 3.
Early life
Let's test your knowledge over the other 3.
was early life. Was that one of them?
Casa Azul.
Oh,
her-
Casa Azul was
yeah,
one.
that's right.
4, 2 more. Anyway, so the point is,
I
it
don't
was
remember.
broken down to 6 themes because they felt like her life couldn't be told chronologically, right? But more broken into different periods of her
Right.
life. But I think it was really interesting that Midland, Texas, of all places, was able to host that exhibit.
Yeah.
I think that's really interesting and really rare and very special. So way to go, Midland, for making that happen.
Yay, Midland.
Yay.
No, they're not paying us to say any of this. We paid our own entry to support the arts.
$10.
$10. Military discount. No, that wasn't our military discount.
But there
I'm
is
telling
a
you,
mil-
there is a military discount.
and a museum member discount.
Yes. What those discounts consist of, I could not tell you. I don't remember
No.
because they did not apply to me.
Yeah. So what did you think about the exhibit?
Well, wait.
Oh,
What was your
1 of 10.
What was your ranking? Yeah, 1 of 10.
1 of 10. I will give it a 6.
6. Okay. I tell you what I did like about the, bouncing off of what you were talking about, the photo qualities, even though they were reproductions. I'm glad that they didn't go in and fix any of the, like you could still see tears that were in some of the photos, or where somebody drew on it, even if it wasn't her circling people and writing something in the deal there. They kept all of that stuff out. Whereas a lot of times when we get photos just coming from graphic design world and advertising world, when we get these older photos and they have these tears and scratches, most people want you to get rid of those, and that's part of the cleaning up process. And they didn't do any of that to these, which I think is great. And I think it's how it should have been, because it added the character, even if it wasn't the physical characteristic. So I really like that about it. It helps put it in its own place and time, and it makes it also like you're not looking at it on a computer screen in a sense, Most of the photos were black and white, which I love black and white photography. I really liked that I connected that Diego, her husband, I had watched or read something before about the guy who painted the mural or fresco or whatever it was at the Ford Motor Company, and he was putting his little communist what's the word I'm looking for?
You said jab earlier.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, yeah, it's like it was supposed to be a mural about America and its accomplishments and its and the like. And he kind of put this little thing like hoping nobody would see it or at least get it, but they sure did, and they told him to get rid of it, and he didn't want to, and so they had it demolished and taken down or painted over or something like that. But I didn't even know. I mean, I had read all that stuff before, but I didn't know that this was the same guy as in Frida's husband until we were there. And I'm like, wait a minute, I know that
story.
I know that story. Right. So it was neat to have a couple of those kinds of things. And then when you and I were looking at some of the other photos from the Revolutionary War, we were like, I've seen this in something before. You know, they've used this in something else before. So it was neat to make those kinds of connections. And then just of course, photographers always do this, but just the slices of life that you would see, one of them when she was coming off of a plane, I really liked that one.
Yeah.
It's just a nice juxtaposition of kind of, I don't know.
It's like two different worlds, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like two different worlds.
That was a good picture.
My favorite one was...
And if you can tell us who the girl photobombing through the window is, we want to know who that is.
That's right. All right, internet sleuths, Reddit, we're talking to you out there.
I think it was when she arrived to Detroit, right? Is that the picture we're referring to? I want to say...
It just said when she was arriving to America. I don't know that it...
Okay.
It may have been her first trip to America, so if that helps anybody out.
Well, there's probably not very many pictures.
That's true.
Yeah.
There's probably only one.
So if you know who the girl photobombing is, we want to know who that is.
That's right. We're going to track her down and be like, why'd you photobomb?
You dumb or something?
Why stupid?
Why are you stupid like that?
My favorite photos that I could remember on there were it's really I don't know why they were they were reproductions. Why they had to make some of them the size of
the
stamps.
Dummy and be like, I don't know that I realized that.
I didn't realize it until she pointed it out, and then I couldn't.
And then I could tell that it was
unsee
faded.
it.
Some of it was like, I mean, you could tell now that I think about it, but yeah.
I mean, it was high quality,
I
but it
didn't
was
realize.
just different.
And I almost told you guys, oh, isn't that so cool? Like, this is original. Like, she touched this and like her hands were on.
Well, and that's what's part of this.
But no. Okay, I'm glad I didn't say that. Or I should have, so I would have known.
When you go to see, like when we went to Museum of Modern Art in New York, when we saw Van Gogh's Van Gogh, of his self-portrait, it was the one that he did. You know what I mean?
Yes, and you see the brush strokes, and you see the thickness of the paint, and the variations, and you're just like, oh my gosh, like you can picture him in front of that, painting it somehow,
Right.
But with these, it kind of lost that a little, but they were still beautiful pictures.
Right. And you never know what the reason is for something like that. Mm-hmm. He may not have been allowed to remove the pictures. All he was allowed to do was make copies of them to put on this display. You never know with those things. Once again, internet sleuths, if you know the answer, please let us know. But there was a really tiny, cool little photo that was these guys in the street that were serenading. I'm assuming would be Frida. That's what it looked like.
I didn't say. It just said like friends.
Okay,
I
so
don't know.
yeah,
I don't know if it
I'm
was
not
Frida.
sure if it was or
It
not.
didn't look like her.
It was really tiny, so it was really hard to tell.
It was a very tiny picture.
It was about the size of 2 stamps put together or something.
Yeah, it really was.
Just to give you some visual there. But she was inside, whoever the lady was inside, and it was just she was leaning out the window. They were singing to her in the window. It was a cool little slice of life there. It didn't seem like it was posed necessarily. It just seemed like,
And that happened in Mexico during that time period.
Yeah.
The window serenades, and you bring your mariachis to your window, and she comes out in her dress and looks onto her lover. So I mean, it was a thing that happened during that time period.
Yeah, that's awesome. I don't know that I knew that necessarily, but it was very...
Watch a couple of Antonio Aguilar movies, and it's like in every movie. That scene is in every movie.
I'll have to write that one down. I'll have to see what movies you're
And
talking about
they
there.
still do it. Like for Mexican mothers on Mother's Day, they're like,
Oh.
oh, we're gonna send mariachis to come sing to you at your house, at 6 a.m. So it's still tradition, a custom. It's still a tradition that is used.
Wow.
Yes, mariachis is the ultimate gift.
I did not know that.
It is.
Did not know that.
Now they're like $600 an hour or something crazy like that.
I just can't imagine being woken up at 6 a.m. with mariachi. And not just an alarm music-wise, just they're live out there.
Well, that was nothing. I mean, back then,
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I'm
Nowadays,
just thinking of it now.
you can't even wake up.
Although I will,
that time for work.
as a side note, at 6 a.m. I do hear the OHS band practicing out right over
your
there.
own mariachi.
No kidding.
Serenading
No
you.
kidding.
Oh.
I really do. So there was another photo that I really liked, and that was, once again, like I said, I love black and white photography. There was a guy on a motorcycle going through the rain and the puddle of the rain, and it looked so much like liquid metal rain, and just, I don't know, it just looked really fascinating to me.
It was a very good
It
photograph.
was a very cool,
That
striking
one caught
photo.
my attention as well.
And you got to wonder, how far away was she, or whoever took the photo? Was it her that took the photo, or was
I don't
it?
remember.
Yeah, I don't remember
And
that either.
I don't think it was anyone they knew.
Right,
Yeah, it's just a random picture.
and the ones with the horse juggling.
Yes, you did like that one. That's the one where I said, "Okay, come on, dude, you wasted this space out of 6,000 pictures to put these guys
loved it.
upside down on a horse."
He put it there
Why?
specifically for somebody
For
like me.
you. I was like, what
Clearly.
a wasted photograph.
It's interesting as hell. I mean, I've never seen that before. You have horses, so it's different.
I know. I guess I don't know.
She takes her
Maybe in
horses
my,
for granted. Thank you.
in my old age, I'm like less impressed with a lot of things. I guess. I don't know.
guess. I don't know. Horses are awesome.
They are, but I was like, what's the point of this being here? And that was kind of my feeling throughout the whole exhibit. I know you're not finished and you haven't asked me yet, but I felt underwhelmed. I really did.
Well, I'll give you my ranking, and then we'll ask you your take on it.
Okay.
Okay. So I'll give it 7 out of 10. Like I said, every single one of the walls, I guess, that we were looking at had one photo or two that really kind of, I was like, oh, yeah, okay. Me being a not official and not professional photographer that I would like to be necessarily,
You've gotten paid for it, right?
but I have gotten paid for it,
So you're a
right?
professional.
And doing it in advertising and doing it for my job
So
currently.
you're hard on yourself like I am on me. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not that. It's like, well, you've gotten paid for it, right? Yeah,
Right.
Okay, I am better than I think I am.
Yeah, there's the thing about having a photographer's eye, is what they call it.
Right.
An eye for photography, so that like can see like. So I saw a couple of those, at least on all the ones that we saw, all the walls that we saw. That was like, okay, I know why they took that one. That's the look. That's the reason. So yeah, 7 out of 10, not bad. I liked it. All right, now we get the real tea.
The real tea. Don't even get me on that talk. I don't even know how to talk slang, today's slang.
Well, you did buy a tea. What did you buy for your mom?
Tea towel.
Oh, a tea towel.
A tea towel.
A tea towel.
I was
Say
just
that
trying-
5 times really fast.
We'll ask Tina to
About
do
her tea towel.
or Terry.
Terry.
We'll ask Terry about her tea towels.
So I haven't really processed the exhibit, but I just know that I didn't know what to expect going in, right? But I did have high expectations, and I did go excited. I was probably excited because of the mimosas that we had.
That does, drinking beforehand does help, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. And so like I said, I don't know what I was expecting to see, but I just didn't get an emotional response. I did get one emotional response from that picture that I told you that I liked.
Mm-hmm.
That I told Jed, or I pointed out to both of you that I liked. And I think it was called like Frida on an armchair or something. And that one really, to me, like just the simplicity and the composition of it, but you really showed like her distress and suffering. Like in all the pictures, that looked very raw, like that was her stay at that time. And yeah, we saw her in the hospital bed, and we saw her in other pictures where she was probably in more pain. But that picture I thought was a really good picture. That one
Almost like it was trying to represent
triggered
pain,
an emotion.
as opposed to it being one where she was in the hospital bed, probably actually in pain.
Right. Yeah.
It's just it's a representation, but it is portrayed.
And that one triggered an
Yeah.
emotion. And so, and I haven't been, honestly, I mean, I love photography. I take a lot of pictures and see a lot of pictures, but I can't say I've really been to like an photography exhibit, really. Like, I can't think of anything right now. And so I don't really know what to expect, right? But I just
Right.
figured like I would probably get triggered by more pictures or something. I don't know. And it could be the way it was laid out, right? Like the way that it was set up,
It was
and
very bright in there.
so maybe it had
used to
something to do with that.
I'm used to going to museums and there not being really bright lighting, but more mood type lighting.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that had something to do with it or not,
I
but
don't know, Beatrice. I mean, you've probably been to more.
I felt.
Exhibits.
I personally didn't. I don't know. I mean, I was kind of thinking of lots of things. I didn't like the groupings on some of them. I think I was looking at the framing. The framing was
Yes.
falling apart on some pictures. I saw some things popping out behind the frame,
And
and
that
that bothered
guy-
me. And I felt like the frame color was off. I mean,
Yeah,
I thought of
something
all
about
those
it was
aesthetics.
off. Yes,
I feel like if you're gonna put on this show about Frida Kahlo,
it could have done better, right?
I mean, step up your game. Like, frame it right, please.
and
like,
that guy
clean it.
did say they were going to send it back to get some things fixed before it went on to its
Yes,
next show.
he
So
did say
I mean,
that.
you
I
are
did
right. Yeah,
notice
you
that.
did
I
notice
noticed
that.
some of the stuff behind the frames popping out, and I'm like, that's not cool.
That's not professional.
You know, because
yeah.
we are going again. You know, we're going to watch a professional quality exhibit, and you see all those flaws, and it does distract from the art. And like you said, it'll speak to you. I think when there's no distractions, then the art comes to you.
Yeah.
But I felt like there
Right.
was. I felt like even the wood color was off. I
Yes,
just didn't
that
have a good
frame.
vibe either.
I didn't
when
either.
saw it.
Yes, the vibe was off. I couldn't
Yeah.
really point what it was, but there was something there that I'm like, okay, it's not drawing me in, but I didn't really know what
The
it
lighting
was.
too could have been so much.
Yeah.
better.
well, and you know what's I guess I didn't know what to expect going into it. I didn't know it was going to be black and white photos. I really didn't know what I was going in for. But it's definitely a complete contrast when you look at her actual art, which is extremely colorful.
Right.
You
Even
know,
if it's sad, it's colorful.
Correct. I mean,
Yeah.
it is bold, colorful, and that's part of what she's known for. She helped represent some of that Mexican culture in her artwork to the United States and to the world, really. But that was part of her popularity. So, to me, that was a weird contrast. It's like I was expecting there to be more color, even if it wasn't in the photos. Once again, I didn't know they were going to be black and
Maybe
white.
on the walls of the presentation.
Right,
Something.
exactly.
Like Beatrice's PowerPoint, it was like the way you incorporated the flowers. It was a really nice touch.
Yeah, yeah.
They
was.
could have made the walls very bright, because when you go into Frida's world, it is very colorful.
It is.
It-
lots of emotions, and you didn't feel all those emotions.
It looked like a high school gallery.
It was like
This-
dull.
Well, it was a clean aesthetic look, is what they were, I guess, going for.
But it wasn't
But that's
like,
not necessarily
like a
what it
modern
needed.
clean. Yeah, it
Yeah.
wasn't even like a cool clean. It was
Right.
just like we just put this together like we put our PowerPoints
Sanitary.
together last night.
Sanitary.
So my first draft was black with white. I swear, because I was looking at pictures, and I was like, "This isn't Frida," so I had to step it up and pick color. And all I did is take, just a little bit of tweaking here and there. But I thought, like, she's
Exactly.
colorful. She's
Yeah.
not black and white. Her world was not black
Wait,
and
was
white.
it
It was
my
That's literally the PowerPoint.
Wasn't that my presentation?
Yeah.
Black and white.
Yours.
no.
Can we upload mine? I
That's
thought it
right.
looked better.
We,
But
we,
you
we
had
might
the-
have all
you
of
had
them
the
on there.
Paintings on there.
I
That's
did.
right.
That
So there were
had-
color in
you
yours
had
as
the
well.
color.
It was the pictures.
I had color in my presentations, but most of the photos I used were black and white. Yeah. But just like you were saying, I had to incorporate color into the thing because that was kind of what she was known for.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just
So I guess I do know what I'm talking about. It's not like I'm less impressed as I'm older. I just know what I'm talking about
Yes.
now.
Yeah, I mean
For sure.
you've been around,
Thanks,
you know.
Beatrice.
Well, you've been to museums, you've seen things, and you know how things have evoked emotions in you. And
It's just the artist
you
in
felt
me.
it.
I just couldn't explain it.
Yeah. No.
So what do you give
could be
it,
fine.
Gavin?
Yeah. What do you give it
What do you
there?
rate it?
You know, we'll just do consecutive count. We'll do a 5, 6, 7.
Okay.
5, 6, 7. Pataboo Ray. 5, 6, 7, 8.
What would you
a
give it?
5. A 5.
What? Only a 5.
I'm sorry. It's not the photographer. It's the curator
No,
of the
absolutely.
museum, not of the photograph.
I understand.
Or maybe the photographs too. I mean, I feel. Shoot, let me see the other ones. I'll tell you what you're missing out there.
Well, I think it's funny. We got 5, 6, and 7, right? Wasn't your 6?
Yes.
Yeah. And I said 7. You said 5.
I said 5. It was
Yeah.
halfway there. It was a good start.
Well,
It was like my professor used to say, "That's a good start."
it's kind of like, I don't know. I mean, I get the setup and how it was set up. I just think they missed an opportunity to have very colorful walls. If they had one, right? That one with that was that. It was kind of like
They
a
could have had like an immersive
teal kind of color or whatever that had a yellow frame, and it was the color photos. That
What was
wall
up with
popped.
that one? What was up with that one yellow frame? Was that like Frida's frame?
I don't know.
Like, why was there that
What?
weird?
See,
odd
It was
the only
placed
color
yellow
photo.
frame?
I wish all the frames were like that.
Right.
If they're
Yeah.
gonna have fun, with it, do the whole thing. Yeah, that
And we-
that
That
was
was
odd.
a random
Yeah.
frame.
And we would take a photo. We would show you a photo of what we're talking about, but we weren't allowed to take photos in there.
What?
Gabriella.
Was there a sign?
Yes.
Okay.
When we went in there, the guy
Did I-
specifically
said no photos.
and we were like, "All right, dude, you're talking weird, but okay."
I must have been looking down when he said that, putting my card in my wallet,
Well, it's
given I
okay.
paid cash. I was putting things away in my purse. I couldn't hear.
So we will put that illegal photo on the site so everybody can
Guys,
see.
If you get me arrested, I'm gonna be so upset with you.
This is a podcast. It is audio only. So you have to,
they can't find you. They won't find you. This is audio only. Okay, thanks. I
don't know.
feel safe.
I don't know that I've said your last name.
Send me
on
to the
here yet,
safe
so-
house now. Send me to the safe. Do you think you did?
I don't think I did. No, I think
None of our last names.
we've
right?
just called you G Star the entire time.
G-star.
Well, you referenced me that online last night, so thanks.
You're welcome.
Now I gotta go delete all
Lots.
references to G Star. I need a cop friend, a lawyer friend that can help.
If there's any,
Any
lawyers listening,
listeners?
if there's any lawyers listening,
Please call it.
please call.
And
That's
that may
right.
be single. Beatrice is looking. It's always good to have a lawyer in the family.
Oh my goodness. Well, I think that
The Weeknd said it best.
what did the weekend say best?
Well, I can't sing, but we're out
I
of time.
feel it coming. I feel it coming, babe. Is that not what you were talking about?
That was earlier. Something about
That's when the
being
champagne had
out of
kicked in.
time. Something about being out of time. I can't
Oh.
get that beat. I can't.
But I'm out of time. Yeah.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
one.
So we're out of time. Actually, we're not, but we're wrapping it up anyways. I want to thank our guest tonight. That would be Gabby G Star. I'm not going to say the last name.
I appreciate that. Thanks for looking out.
And Beatrice. I don't have a nickname for you yet. We'll come up with one eventually. Thanks for coming on the show today.
Thanks for having me.
Yes. And I want to thank the listening audience. Please tune in again next time. Same bat time, same bat channel. What channel is that? Hell, I don't know. This is all new to me, ladies and gentlemen. We're making it up as we go along. I want everybody to be good to themselves out there. Hit that like button if that kind of thing exists on podcasts. Subscribe. I know that does exist on podcasts. Tell us what you thought of the show. Tell us what you thought of the guests. Let me know if you want to see pictures of the dogs. Check out the museum. Thanks for joining.